Right. All
How you
good.
been? How you
Yeah,
been?
good, good. Yeah, yeah. Just been working, man. You know, doing some part-time stuff with AFL Sports Ready. Looking after the young kids around the country. Also, got my two boys here trying to homeschool, man. You know, I've been out of school for 45 years, and they trying to pull all kind of tricks on me. You know, so
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 that's been the thing people have been complaining about. The parents are like, "Yo, like I can add 400 plus 500, but I can't go through all through the bullshit trying to figure out the way they want it done nowadays, right?"
yeah, no question about it, man. They told me, you know, we got quarantine in the house. You know, they all in their rooms on their desk. But when I go into my older boy's room, you know, he's on the iPad. He's got the video on, listen to music. He got his girlfriend on the mobile. I'm like, yo, what's up with you? You know, like, so I'm trying to pull him in the line a little bit, you know, but we all good. We all good.
And you're based in Canberra, right?
That's right. Yeah, been in Canberra since the 2000. I came here on Boxing Day, 99. And, you know, been here ever since. Everyone wonders why, how could you live in Canberra? But I find it a good spot to live. It's not crowded. It's central to everywhere. You know, you can hop on one flight and go. And my family here, my lovely lady, Julia, she has her family, brothers, sisters, and her parents. So we all here. And
Wow.
It's kind of comfortable that way.
Well, you coached the Cannons in the final years of their time in the NBL, and I was just talking to Joey Wright the other day, and he was like, "Yo, Canberra had a squad together. Canberra was building it under Cal, but then you know things went bad. But you know, look at some of the players you had. Well, you had CJ playing for you, so you had the point guard locked down for as long as you would have needed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had Mike Chappelle.
Yeah, Mike Chappelle, Dave Thomas, Reginald Poole, who was a 6'8", James Crawford, you know, just the same with Hops. I had Brad Williams, Brett. I had Brendan Mann, Mick Hill, Cameron Rigby. Yeah, we had a crew. And I felt that the NBL might have thought that they made a boo-boo because the last 2 years I coached here, they gave the bottom team extra import so they can try to balance it out.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And I went to the States and hooked up with Magic Johnson and went to Michigan State and basically got in with Tom Izzo, and he said, "Yeah, I got a couple guys for you." I said, "Well, let's go." And I came back with Dave and Mike, and now we jumped out the blocks. We played Sydney that year. We gave them a little preseason touch up. We went into the regular season doing really well, and I felt that we had a team to win it that year. But they shut us down, and everyone tried to say it was because we didn't have the support. But that's a whole nother story. That'd take a whole nother podcast, you know. But I was disappointed the way we were treated. We were actually sold like, you know, without us even knowing, through the NBL to New Zealand. and when I found out, like, well, how are you going to sell us? You know, and Peter Ally was the general manager of the league at the time. And I'd already told him I was sitting in a position where I was able to put some funds across to purchase the team. And the major sponsor behind me, I had the former major sponsor ready to grant me $350 grand of the sponsorship that they owed us so they can move on. And I was ready to roll. But they put us in liquidation real quick and walked. And that was just, and then we had to try to build up and go through things. And when I went to Peter Ally and told him I'm prepared to buy the team, then they sold it to Newcastle, Jeff Blandon, a guy that had no idea. He turned out to be a crook. You know, he slipped out the country owing the government about $7 million or something, and that was disappointing. Yeah, he had James Crawford and Butch Hayes with him, and you know, that was how they we were looking at splitting games, sending 5 games to Newcastle, and then we'll take the 10 games here. Because back then we played everybody 3 times. You know, So twice at home and once away, or you playing twice away and once at home. So I just sold off all our extra home games against the same opponent to Newcastle, and thought that's a way for them to get their program organized. So
right.
it did, yeah, it was disappointing, right? But that's a whole nother podcast.
Yo, man, isn't it crazy how many different looks this league has had over that? So I've been here 30 years. How many years has it been for you?
41.
Woo!
Yeah, 41. More than half my life, as you know. Like I'm 60, coming up 66 now, and I've been here. My first year, I came in '79. Yep. I arrived a day before the game. I met my teammates pretty much in the locker room before the game. I know when I saw those tight shorts, I went for the biggest pair I could find. They still was short shorts, And we played Canberra, Herb McKeechin. And him and I were the first two brothers in the competition. And I didn't know that, but my teammates,
really?
No, Herb and I were the first two, and the only two that year. And the only other person of color in the league was Danny Morsu, playing for St. Kilda. And I rocked up, warming up before the game, and my teammates pulled me aside and said that they had a indigenous player, Aboriginal player on their other team, and you need to line up with him so you can exchange the gifts like we do internationally. And he said, when you shake hands, talk to him very slowly because they like to read lips, and stuff. So I roll up on Herb, I go, my name is Cal, right? And Herb said, what the hell is wrong with you, bro? I'm Herb, San Francisco. And I looked at my teammates, man, and they rolling, they got me. They got me straight away,
Oh, that's good. And so you came over you went to Wichita State, hooped there, originally from New York. Which borough? I'm
born in Brooklyn. My dad was killed when I was 7, and at his place of work. And my mom had my younger sister, Teresa, who's intellectually handicapped and albino. And we only 10 months apart. So we went to school together. We took baths together. We everything, Yep. And she had a photographic memory, but she was a slow learner. And my mom was 9 months pregnant with my baby sister when my dad passed. So my mom told me I'm going to be her little man, and I had to look out for everybody. So we struggled, like no dad. The income was, very weak because my dad was the breadwinner. My mom didn't work. And we had family help and stuff. And then I was going to school with my sisters, but they used to pick on her because it was in the 60s, right? And, the racial divide and all that. So when I was holding her hand going to school, they would say, man, let go of that white girl's hand. Now, this is all the brothers and stuff, I'm like, what white girl? They go, the white girl you holding her hand? I said, man, this is my sister, and next thing you know, really? I'm fighting and I'm getting suspended and couldn't tell my mom. So I had to, because she would have killed me. Like, why'd you? So I used to walk, like we leaving school every day, holding my sister's hand and walk her to school. And then I'll leave and go to the laundromat, stay in the laundromat all day, right? And then head back and pick her up. And then I had to wait for the mailman every day so I can make sure that I got that suspension letter and not my mom, right? And I ended up having to pay a price there, but I was always going to protect my sister. She was my heart. So I come up that way.
I never knew that, man.
Yeah, that was my challenge early on. And then we bounced around different houses probably 3 times from the time I was 7 to the time I was 11. We moved 3 different times. And then my mom received some benefits from my father's death. And we were able to purchase a house in Queens. And that's when I, for the first time, I was around a lot of white people, and that difference was huge for me because one of the mentors that I had, to this day, I'm still in touch with him, Mr. Marvin Miller. He's 88 years old, and he still, through his kids, send me messages and stuff like that. And when I went back to New York, when they retired my jersey at the park, he was there, and 4,000 people. So it was a blessing.
And when did you start really loving basketball? Obviously, I mean, with challenges and like that, and your time, so like you're obviously struggling for time with your responsibility that you decided to take on. When did you start getting good?
I started when I was probably about 13. took it really, really seriously because my mom's really struggled. And at one point, she was taken away in the ambulance in a straitjacket. And she had a mental breakdown. And my auntie, my mother's sister, came and took my baby sister. And the state came and took my sister Teresa away. And I was home alone at 11 and 12. Whoa. So at that stage, I had to look. My uncle came and said, okay, well, you got to hold it down. It'd be best if you stay here, so you can look after the house. I had the neighbors knew what was up, so they kind of provided some food. But I went to school every day. On the weekends, I would travel 3 hours to go see my sister up in upstate Poughkeepsie. And it was like one flew over a cuckoo's nest there. It was crazy, and I used to then go back and tell my mom, come on, you got to get well, Mom. The 30 can't stay there. My little sister, I wasn't so much worried about because my auntie had 5 other kids, so she was in the mix, And finally, my mom got well enough to come home. I finally went up there and got my sister out of that place, and we got her back home because Mom was home. And then she found it really tough because she couldn't go to school anymore. So we had to find a place for her to be comfortable. So that was my struggle coming up. But the basketball was my escape. So I used to go to the park. And, man, I'll be in the park, and all the brothers knew me. Because back then, drugs was all around. They're like, yo, leave Cal alone. Don't mess with him. He's balling. I would be in that park till midnight, but in the summertime. But if my mom whistled, the boys used to relay that, I better get home because she was crazy about me. She had extension cords, baseball bats. She had you're not going to lose it. I'm going to lose you first. I brought you in as well. I'm gonna take you out.
those were the old school devices.
That's it. That's it. So I love the game at that point.
So what boroughs did you hoop in? Did you hoop in Queens a lot? Did you go into the city, or did you go up to Harlem? Where were you balling?
Well, I was balling in Queens for the majority. We had the Courtsmen in the summertime, but I made a team called the Salukis, which had all the Lloyd Freeze, all the legends, Fly Williams, and they started basically taking us around. So I was like 15, and I had made that team. I was on the New York City All-Stars and whatnot. And everyone at the States, they used to call me Shake and Bake and Rootin', Tootin', Calvin Bruton, Wow. And I was basically getting confident, and sure enough, I made my high school team. Then in the summers, you travel around, you play against all the boroughs and stuff, and I once I made the All-City team, then I was kind of recognized, but scholarship offers was far and few because of my height. And I teamed up on one of the Salukis with a guy by the name of Rudy Jackson, who was 6'9", and he had over 300 scholarship offers. Everybody wanted him. But I was his point guard, man. He used to come on the outlet to me, and he'll fill the lane. He's 6'9", doing everything. And I'll come down the court, and he'll go, woohoo! And I know that he's coming. Just throw it up. He'll catch that and punch it. And he can put it on the deck and find me, and I'm Jaying. So, man, when he went to college at Wichita, he decided to go to Wichita State. He said, man, they said, any requests? He said, I really like to go with my man Cal. And so that's how I got my deal. And then when we got out there, we had to take an entrance examination, and he didn't pass it. So he had to go to a JUCO, Hutchinson, junior college.
Hutchinson, yeah, I know Hutchinson.
And they went to the finals, but I was a freshman that was now eligible to play on the varsity, so I made the varsity team. But the coach was unhappy that he missed out on Rudy. He got me. He said, I recruited a 6'9", and I got this 5'8".
Well, yo, that's a serious cultural change, though, from going NYC to Wichita, Kansas. Come on, man.
Man, it was a struggle dealing with them brothers out there, too, at the time. They loved me, though, but they gave me a hard time, man. You ain't coming up in here, that's when they was wearing their hair with the Jerry curl, and dudes come to the park with curlers in their head. I'm looking at them like, man, shoot, I'm about to wear y'all out. Y'all talking about y'all ballers and stuff. So I got a lot of respect from the community, but they had same thing back then in the 70s. In the Midwest, it's still a bit of racial divide. So you had this center line, like one side was like the Mason-Dixie line. So on one side of the university was mainly the Caucasians and all the wealth, and on the other side was ghetto, and the university was right in the middle. So you wasn't really allowed. If you went on that other side of town, man, the police would pick you up in a minute, in a heartbeat. And
Even though you were hooping, even though you were a
even though I
player
was
on the
hooping,
team.
even though they knew me once they got us in the car. I said, oh, they say, yo, what you doing over here? You need to get back to the other side. You know, they just tell you straight up. You know somebody over here? Why are you over here? You know,
That's
and
tough.
you basically had to toe the line because it was kind of scary. You didn't want to get caught up in that scene, really. You know.
So you get out here. Who sends you out to Australia?
Same one that got you, David Atkins. But what happened was
he should be in the Hall of Fame out here.
I agree, 100. I've been sort of pushing the envelope for a while for him, but I think it should happen. I had 2 trials. I didn't get drafted or anything. At that time, I had a son already and a stepson, you know, and I wasn't really focused on getting married. You know, I was looking for a career first, and then once I got the cake, then I can go bring the family together. So I went back to New York where I knew I can ball and everyone could see me. And I played in all the top tournaments, played against Dr. J, you know, Tiny Archibald and all them, and I was getting my name up. But when the draft came out, didn't get selected, I told my mom, I can't stay here. You know, I need to go back to, you know, Wichita. That's where I think I can maybe get a lift in. Sure enough, a guy invited me to go try out for the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
I went through the free agent camp. I went through the rookie camp. I made the roster, went on exhibition season with James Silas, George Gervin, Dr. K, Larry Keenan, Billy Post.
Yeah, Larry Keenan.
And and they all knew my name was kind of out. They liked the way I played the game because I was diming everybody and taking my opportunity. And I played against Calvin Murphy, Pete Maravich, Matt Calvin, David Thompson at Denver. And then after the 4th game, they called me in the office and said, James Silas is coming back. They call him Captain Lake. And they said he's going to come back, so we don't have a roster spot for you, so we have to let you go. I was shattered, but they gave me a little check. They said, don't stay on, little fella. You got game. So George Gervin and the guys came by to visit to send me off, so that was kind of respect. I hung out for a night, got on the plane. Went the next day to go to the Alamo and looking for some gifts to take home. The person that took me to the airport actually dashed with all my belongings. And I was left in San Antonio with no money because my money was I had a little bit of money because I went to buy the gifts. But my actual cash stuff was inside of my suitcase, my ticket, my air ticket, all my personal belongings. And I was down there without a thing for like 3 days trying to find this person, waiting for the team to come back off the road trip. And I ended up living in a hostel for a couple of days. And then finally, when the team got back, George Gervin and James Silas came and picked me up at the hostel and took me to the San Antonio office. And they gave me a ticket back they said, where you want to go? And they just gave me a ticket back to New York. And I went back, and my mom came to the airport, and she was crying on my little baby sister. And they like, is this what the pros do to you? You know, like, is this what? And I was sad. It was winter. All I had was short T-shirt. I've been wearing for days, getting up every day, washing it, underwear, putting it back on again. And I went home with nothing. And I was shattered. So I didn't leave the house until my high school coach found out I was there. He took me to the Salvation Army. We didn't have any money. Bought me the Army fatigues and the Army coat. And that's where I started. Went to my high school, started coaching the team. I got a school teaching job at Far Rockaway High School. And then finally after that, I got a call to go back out and try out with Kansas City. And I thought, wow, that'd be great. That's when Marlon Redmond, he came out. He was playing. Phil Ford was the #1 draft choice. Billy McKinney. They had some really good guards. I lasted a week. And I went back. I was on a trash truck. That was my living. I actually went back to Wichita and jumped on a trash truck and took that. That was my job. I was picking up 250 stops a day, going to class in the morning to finish my degree and working out at night and still trying to stay sharp for a hopeful opportunity. When I got that fateful call from Dave Atkins' personal man in Kansas City saying he saw me at the Kansas City camp and thought I was pretty good, but didn't think I would make it. Would you be interested in this opportunity? We'll call him back. And that's how I got started.
Brisbane, right?
In Brisbane. Landed, like I said, day before the first game. We lost that game against Canberra. I got on the road, played Illawarra. Gordy McLeod was on the national team. And I looked at him. I said, "That's the guy they talking about? Jeez, I'm about to go to work here." Right? He was like the, so my ears went up. I was like, "Shoot, I got to get on top of this, a nationally televised game." We won on the buzzer, and I had dropped 29 that game because Doc threatened to send me home if I didn't start getting buckets. So
that's the way it was until about, I would say, maybe 2003 when everybody kind of went soft. But 70s, 80s, 90s, you better put some points on the board.
You're right. So I went on, he told me, okay, just score more. I had 29, 35, 42, 53. And he was like, "Oh, you can score more."
Damn.
He turned me loose, right? But we played Nunawading. And I'll never forget that. Like, when I went down there, the Melbourne was going to be where you had to go prove yourself. Yep. They were starting to call me Black Magic. Come watch the brilliant Negro God. There's all headlines in the paper. And when I landed, I'm playing St. Kilda. They were pretty much the national team.
They had a crew.
They had Danny Morsu, and he was guarding me. And I'm like, "Dad, this dude's 6'5". Why you put that little Ken Burbage on me? I want to chew him up." But Danny's chased me around. Anyway, I finished with 38, and they took care of us. They beat us by like 15 or 20. Then the next night we played Nunawading. And I noticed that, they came out, and they were kind of with the mascot with the hood on and stuff. So I'm hitting my teammate like, "What's up with that?" They go, "Yeah, that's."
Wait a minute, a clan hood?
Like a Ku Klux Klan's hoodie, but it was what they call a Spectre, I guess, because it was blue. I said, "I don't care whether it's purple." That to me is whack.
Yeah.
Anyway, fans are pointing at me and booing because I'm the only brother in the stadium. And I'm the leading scorer in the league right now. So they coming after me, and they had Joyce, the Stacker brothers, this brother named Teddy Graham, and Damien Keogh. They all there, So they told me they had 5 fouls to give, and they all was going to use them. So I was like, "Damn, let me add this on. I look like I'm going to get about 50 tonight." And I was kind of giving them the business, man. They were following me hard, man. When you got the ball head, someone hit you in the head, man. I'm trying not to grimace and show them I'm in so much pain. But we ended up crushing them by 20. And I had to get a police escort out of the building because I was waving bye-bye to all their fans. But what I noticed about that team was that every single one of those guys, it was like the Boston Celtics. They all pretty much ran Australian basketball, from the Barry Bonds to Brendan Joyce's to the Stackers to Gary Fox. Bill Palmer was the commissioner of the league at one point. These guys, you should have went and played for them if you wanted a job, to be long term. But they were a competitive team, and I found it real challenging to go up against them every time I went there.
So let's talk about the 85 title season. We're going to go through some championship years for you. 85
that was nice.
85, you win the championship up here in Brisbane.
Let me back up a little bit.
Yeah.
When I went to Geelong, they didn't have a National League team, but they recruited me to help them get into the league. So they said, "Could you bring 2 of your mates?" So I brought one of my college teammates and my homeboy from New York, Johnny Red. So we came down there. We set up the whole program. I was the director of coaching. It's got the juniors going. We had a packed stadium at the little Corio Leisure Time. And we won we came runners up to the NBL champions, St. Kilda, that year. But I was the MVP of the Victorian League. Then the next year we elevated into the Southeastern Conference, and we won that. Once we won that, I was ready to roll, okay, that elevated us into the National League. And by that time I had taken out citizenship. So I became an Australian citizen, hoping to be in the 84 Olympic team. And
How long did it take? How long did it take you to get citizenship?
I was 6 months before qualifying, and I missed out. I was a citizen as of 82 on my birthday, 29th of September. But the Olympics, I'm sorry, 6 weeks. But the Olympics was in August.
Okay.
All right. And so they wouldn't let they wouldn't drop the rule, and I then got onto the team in '85. But anyway, long story short, Geelong, we went straight to the grand final in my first year, and I had taken over the coaching. Won the Coach of the Year award. We played Al Green and Leroy and them in that final. And, man, it was disappointing. We lost by 6, and we were down 20 at the half. So the following year, they split us into two divisions, 83, 84, Western Eastern. We won the division twice, but we missed out in the finals. But we won the Victorian finals, which had 6 NBL teams. So we went back-to-back in 83, 84, but they didn't want to play a coach anymore. And so they said, well, would you step to the side? I said, cool, I'll step there. And then when I decided to step to the side, they wanted to half my salary because I wasn't coaching anymore. I was like, no bet. I got 3 sons now, and my wife don't work. I can't take no 50% pay. So they said, well, we're going to stop paying you right now. And that's how I was. I'm like, really? So I just coached the championship team, and you going to do that to me? And they said, well, we got new ownership, and this is the way he wants it. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. Then I'm going to have to look at my options. So Curly had just gone up, and they played off in the grand final, 84. So I rang him up and said, you need a point guard, And he said, well, we actually having our launch this weekend. Why don't you come on up? So I said, bet. So shoot, I jumped on the plane, went up. Curly had me hold this ball at the launch that had $25,000 sponsorship from the Crest Hotel. Yeah. And he made it seem like I was, you worked there. He made it seem like that was my spot. Like that was going to be so when I went back to Geelong, shoot, the president of the club was over my house damn near as soon as I walked through the door saying, well, what are you going to do? You're going to take the signature, you'll put your signature on this contract. I said, for half the money, you put my contract right and I'm signing it. They go, no. I said, well, that's it. They said, well, we stopped paying you. So I got a job selling women's shoes, men's shoes at Darrell Trelaw. Wayne McDaniels was working in another shop. So him and we sold shoes for 3 months. I was there for 18 months, but just working part-time. But 3 months, I was full-time selling shoes, ladies' shoes.
Damn.
And that's when I decided, yep, I'm packing the bag. Curly, I'm coming. Loaded up the truck, and then here come the owners telling me, oh, no, Cal, you don't have to leave. You don't have to. I said, no, I'm out. No, you
late.
Paid my money. Too late. They said, oh, we'll pay you your back pay and all that. I said, no, I'm sorry. My family's been struggling this whole time, and now you want to come? So we left. They took me to court. And back then, I had to pay $7,000 for a transfer fee, to get to play. I didn't play the first 2 games. I missed the game against, I guess it was St. Kilda. I missed the Perth game and the Adelaide game, the Doomsday Double. And I ended up playing the Melbourne game because I was already there. And we lost both the games in Perth, the start 2 games, and we beat Melbourne. And I was so happy. And then, of course, we went on to go to the grand final. And who do we see again? Al Green. I was like, well, you know what? Leroy is on my team. But what I was most upset about leaving Geelong, because I had built the program with most of the guys I was bringing in, Ray Shirley and Wayne McDaniels and James Crawford. I built it up where we were champions in the BBA, but we just hadn't won the league and 2 Western Conference titles. But they replaced me with Ken Richardson, Casey Jones, Alan Westover, Brian Gorgon, and they didn't even make the playoffs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they brought in
because those are some horses right there.
They all was legitimate players, But Ken Richardson was the coach, and I went up and joined Leroy and them, and like I said, we won it. So that was my basically launch into international basketball. The Pac-10 came over to play us in Chandler Stadium, and I made my debut and hit my first shot, and shit, I was on my way then. So I was hoping to sort of stay with that program through. But after we won in 85, we played off at 86 in Brisbane, another championship. We lost it in the 3rd game. Curly and I didn't see eye to eye on that note. So, I was really disappointed in the way I was treated. So bang, out, didn't have a club to go to at all. Now I'm a bit worried because now I can't feed my family. And I had a couple, go to Sydney and whatnot, but I was really concerned about my boys. CJ was starting to really play at I think it was 11, or he was 75, so 85. He was 86, he was 11 years old.
Right.
And he was balling. He had made the under-14 team, So I went in Adelaide. I met Bob Williams briefly on the elevator. And he said, I like the way you play in the game because I had a good series there. And then Connie Klimko, who was the marketing person for the Bullets, he invited her over to Perth to actually set up the marketing for the Wildcats. And he asked about coaching. And he looked like he was leaning to Ken Cole at that point. And sure enough, she said, I think you should have a look at Cal, you know. And
wow.
he flew me over. Yeah, man, it was the break. He flew me over, picked me up in the Rolls Royce. That's the first time I sat in the roller. Yeah. Took me to his son's school, watch him play cricket. You know, I wasn't in no cricket. I'm sitting on the grass like that.
Yeah.
You know? But you know what? Him and I struck a relationship. He told me, what will I need to put a championship team together? I said, what can you give me? You know?
Yeah.
And he gave me $100,000. And I spent 100 grand, which was like the most teams at that point.
For the whole team?
For the whole team.
Wow. Okay.
And I used that $100,000 on James Crawford, Tiny Pender, upgraded everyone else's salary, brought in Steve Davis. I had Dan Hickett, you know, my first teammate in Australia. Yep. We had 2 roster players, and James Jackson and Wayne Simmons worked out with us, plus all the locals. Mike Ellis was the captain, of course, and Ellis family, Glenn Ellis, and Craig Fitzsimmons, Alan Black, and we went on through. And sure enough, we won the preseason tournament. But before that, I hadn't really had a contract. So Bob says, you know, where's your name? I said, well, I couldn't squeeze myself in. He said, get a championship team. I had to spend the money on these guys. And he kind of had a little chuckle. He said, that's okay. He said, I want to look after you. So he helped me out. And at that time, it wasn't much bigger than the contract I had from Brisbane. But I was just happy for the start and the leadership opportunity, you know?
Yeah. So
that was good.
Let's talk about James Crawford, though. Have you seen a better jumper in the NBL, in the history of the NBL?
No. Not quick leaper like that. And you know what? His first game he played for us in Geelong, he snapped his knee straight away. Right. First game. He came over in '81 and played in the South and played in the VABA. That was his first game after we had won the Converse Super Challenge. He kind of watched us in that. Sure enough, he came and make his debut, snapped his knee right then. So he's gone. Now the owners of the Geelong team is saying, well, shit, we got to send him out and get a new one. But I saw enough of him already to say, nah, that's not a good idea. We should persevere. And if the preseason, he doesn't come up, then, and we pretty much looked after him. My wife at the time, Trish, she cooked for him, and we took things by. He bought a bird so he can parrot so he can talk to it, keep him company. And we had back in Geelong, we were ahead of the game. We had the Geelong Fitness Center was our strength and conditioning coach. So he worked James and got his leg right and all that. And James made it in time to play the first game against Perth. And we went over there and gave both of our first game in the league, we gave them a spanking. And and therefore we were starting to feel like pretty good about ourselves, you know. Yeah. We then came back and we lost the next couple games, and then the owners was hard nosed. They decided that they were gonna sack the coach. Okay. And we all looking, And they called me in the office and said, we decided to let him go, like out the blue, like at the end of a practice session, and said, we think that you can take over. Would you be interested in taking over the team from this point on? I'm sitting there like, damn. I said, really? They go, yeah, we'd like you to take over. The first game I coached, we played Nuttawadi. They spanked us by 25. So I thought they were going to send me home too. Yeah.
So going out to Perth and doing this, you're all right. You can handle the player coaching thing.
Well, I had done it. I was probably at that stage the most successful winningest coach in the NBL in terms of win losses, because my first year we were 20-6, and I was 20-4 because we 20-3 because we lost. I'm sorry, 19-3 because we lost the first couple games that year. The next year we were 18-4, and my last year we were 21-2. And they played, and we played in the finals and we lost it. And I was kind of shattered because I thought that team with Wayne McDaniels, Brad Dalton, Danny Morsu, James Crawford, we had a crew plus the locals. I felt we could win it. And we lost it, and that's when everything took place with the new ownership and all that. Mm. But when I went to Perth, Bob was totally happy with me to put the team together, and we went straight to the grand final again.
In 87.
87, we faced Brisbane.
Played Brisbane.
Yeah, and man, we lost that game by 1 point at home because you play one game at home and 2 on the road. And that's when Tiny Pinner broke the backboard and kind of paused because we just about to run over him, I thought. And we went to Brisbane for the second game. Boy, they put a whooping on us, and that was it. And then they started popping the champagne, and all I got, let's go in the locker room. I'm like, no, you got to watch this, and then lick your tongue out, see if you can get a taste of that, because we're going to have a turn one day.
Now, this is where the heartbreak comes into me for our interview here. This is where the heartbreak comes in, because you get your chance in 90 as coach of the Wildcats. You got most of those guys coming back, right? James, Tiny, Mike Ellis, Davies. But you brought in the point guard, Ricky Grace.
Yeah. Well, I went to the States. Dave Atkins contacted me and said, I got a point guard here I'd like you to have a look at. Because I just retired at 89. We had lost by 55, and I said, I'm done, We went to, I flew over to the States. I flew Ricky up to Iowa. We went straight to the gym. Dave Atkins had organized the trials, so I worked them out. And then we decided I was playing one-on-one. Ricky would probably tell you a different story. But I'm coming out, and I'm giving him the business, first up just to see. And Doc calls a timeout. We playing one-on-one, timeout. He calls, and he gives Ricky, like, you want a job? Do you want a job? And he's screaming at him. And so I'm looking at Doc like, yeah, you chill. Like, yeah. And sure enough, Ricky came back, and he was serious. Like, he could game face, and he's all over me and everything. And we played once. We played twice. He's won both games. I said, okay, cool. We go get some to eat. I'm drinking a beer. I said, you like a beer? He like, no, no thanks. I'm trying to test him and see where he at, And then the next morning, I woke him up like 6:30. I said, come on, man. We're going to go work out again. And he looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, no, I wanted to see his passion, whether he was ready, If he had told me that, nah, man, we did that yesterday. I'm done. Well, I would have left him right there, Yeah. To his credit, he got up, went to the gym with me. Shoot, I went to work on him this morning, And then a group of guys came in, and we ended up playing together against him. And I liked him. I said, all right, man, I'll talk to Doc. I like you. I like to bring you out,
And Rick is young at this point. Rick's only 23, same age as me. He's 23 and 90.
Exactly. And then I heard about you coming, so I had to bring somebody to kind of match up. They said, shoot, the D. Rucker's coming to Brisbane, So we felt that we had special in Ricky, but Ricky was, when I got there, Alan Black is now officially the coach.
Yeah.
And he's playing Ricky at the 2 spot and got Mike playing the 1. And I said, well, I thought Ricky can beat Mike up and down the floor whilst he's dribbling. So it'd be best to give Mike a head start and get him out, kick the pass up, and Ricky can run, catch up to him, and then we rolling. Plus, I had Trevor Torrance, And James Crawford and Tiny, as you know, were athletes, man. They get up and down the floor. So we basically was up and down, and then I decided, we were playing up and down. But then in the regular season, Allen decided that, he wanted to leave Ricky at the 2, and he's rotating the starters between Tiny, James, and Jeff Allen, who we had brought in, and Jeff Allen, big New Yorker from St. John. I remember. And they didn't really seem to gel, and we lost our preseason classic, and we lost one or 2 games in the preseason as well. And so they were disappointed. They brought me in, said, write a report on what's happening. I said, well, I said, Ricky should have the ball. Tiny you should start Tiny and James together. That's a no-brainer. They should be rotating off the bench, And sure enough, they brought Allen in to have a talk. Apparently an argument got going there, and I seen Allen walk out of the office storming out. Damn, okay. There is Kerry and Bob. They didn't come out of the office. Then finally the secretary came and got me, said, Bob and Kerry want to see you. And called me in the office and said, okay, well, we're going to need you to take over the team. We just gave Allen a $50,000 check and told him, thank you very much. And
Wow.
and we're now going to put you in. And man, the team was livid. You know, you can appreciate it was a divide there, pretty much with the Americans, the Australians. We weren't on the page. So first thing I did, I didn't have no preparation, run no training, and I was taking over that afternoon. I just got them to play one-on-one, you know,
Yeah.
and rotating around. And we won, I think, the first game I coached. But what was the disappointing part for me was there was a section in the crowd that when they announced my name, just booed like no tomorrow. I had never had that in my whole career, except for on a visiting court,
Yeah.
you know. And they booed and booed, and I couldn't figure it out. So I'm looking up in the stands. Apparently, it was the club that Allen played for locally that rumor has it that he purchased tickets for them to stand up in that, and they announced my name, just boo. And I basically told the announcers, don't even call my name no more. We struggled. We actually finished that season 17-9. We lost a few games. We had a lot of meetings. And then we got to the grand final, and we played you guys, of course. And we
had home court advantage in the best of three.
That's
first
right.
First game in Perth. The next two are in Brisbane. And
then after we got you in Perth, then you spanked us in Brisbane.
Yeah, that was a big night. Boondle was packed. People were it was packed. And then it came down to that Sunday afternoon game 3 at Boondle, and that place is jumping again.
Oh. And we actually we took a bus out there that time. I think we even had a police escort, going out. So we didn't have to stop at no light. Because when we went to play you the night, the game before,
the Friday night.
We actually went out in cars and we tried to stay convoy, and we kept stopping and having to wait for the guys to catch up and stopping and catching up. We got to the game late, and then we had to rush in and get dressed and all that. No excuse. You guys handed it to us and played well, but we learned a lesson. And that lesson was that we went back. We had a big meeting. We talked about that. Kerry was livid that we lost and we were going to give it away. Had everybody slap themselves in the face, this is what's going to happen if you lose. And, man, we came out really, really focused. Had a couple of individual meetings. And we played our best game of the year in that grand final, game 3.
It was a great game, and I just remember, you love when your big players step up. We all have these games, but I didn't have my zing. I didn't have the spark that I had on the Friday night. I didn't, as a young player and relatively inexperienced, I think I just turned 24. I personally felt that I just didn't handle the whole experience well. I didn't sleep the night before the game. We were staying at a hotel in the city on the Saturday night. And once again, no excuses, just reality and what athletes go through for people watching. The Saturday night, my roommate is Greg Fox, and I'm a bad sleeper anyway. I'm a bad sleeper. I can't get to sleep. I'll stay up all night, every night, if you could let me. So I drove from about 1 o'clock in the morning, tip-off's at 2. I left the hotel, drove back to my apartment, and try to get some sleep.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I couldn't get to sleep till probably about 4. And then I woke up at 7, went back to the hotel, tried to get another hour in. And I remember thinking, then the anxiety and the stress builds up because I got to go against Ricky.
Yeah.
And Mike.
And we had a game plan for you, too. We were going to try to wear you the whole – you and Leroy, we felt were the key. And our thing was we wanted to make sure we pick Leroy up and try to deny him even getting the catch of the ball. So he's working extra hard on offense to get it. And then when he got it, we knew that he's going to try to go to work, so we're going to try to double him. But defensively, we said as soon as we get it, whoever Leroy's guarding, sprint. So that was David Close and Trevor Torrance. Yeah. And we had Leroy running up and down to the point. I saw him when he went to Curly like I need a break. I need a break. And we felt that we were starting to get on top then because, he was the one that hurt us in that game. Oh, man.
But it was a big-time series and a very important series nationally for basketball because it was, I think there was 14,000 at both games in Brisbane. You guys were sold out at the old PEC.
Yes.
And it was legitimate. And it was, because it was coast to coast, everybody kind of followed it.
Loved it. Yeah, national TV and everything, too. So, And when we arrived back at the airport, man, we had thousands there waiting on us. You know?
I remember.
That was the first national championships for any Western Australian team. So that was kind of that was a blessing, you know, and that Western Australia was really proud of the Wildcats. We couldn't go anywhere. We had TV shows. We had Wide World of Sports. You know, Kerry Stokes owned Channel 7 at the time. So, you know, we pretty much had our own media forum every single game, every single day. And the sponsorship was rolling in because I was the GM. So I had signed the first $1 million sponsorship with the brewery, the Swan Brewery. And it was a 3-year deal. It was the biggest in the country at the time. And, you know, we had already been to the States with the Lakers, and we had Michael Cooper and Mitch Kupchak come out because Magic, we was trying to get Magic to come with, but Magic said, no, I'll send Coop and them, and then I'll come later, sort of thing, you know. And man, we were setting it up. We wanted to be the West Coast Lakers. That's pretty much what it boiled down to. So
check this out, Cal. One thing that I used to love about that era was the amount of alcohol in the locker room after the game, right? You could go in the fridges. I know at Boondle at the entertainment center we had fridges. I mean, fridges of alcohol. You take your bag, your gym bag. Huh?
Y'all had 4X as a sponsor, right?
No, by the time I got here, we were Foster's. We were Carlton United Brewery.
Okay. Well, we had Swan Brewery.
Yeah.
So you know, initially it was MU Export, and then we went on to Swan Gold, and we had done all that within the negotiations. Like they could put whatever brand, which gave us new uniforms all the time. Yeah. You know, so you know, we had.
It's funny how that era, you know, that was just a part of it. You go to the function afterwards, get the party on, and you know, it's on. Hey, and another thing I think is it's time to start. You know how we're always comparing, like, oh, Bryce Cotton to Ricky or this person to this person. So much time has passed now. I think it's like there's 3 eras. Your era all the way up kind of to 1990, and then 1990 all the way up to the inception of the 40-minute game. Yep.
40. Yep.
Three eras. You know what I'm saying? Because it's too hard to compare these 40-minute games with the 48-minute games. It's really tough. You don't know how. Hey, a guy might be really good in 40 minutes. He might be horrible if you add another 8 minutes, and you just don't know. You know what I'm saying? Some guys who don't get the minute, they might do better because of the extra 8 minutes.
Yeah. No, I agree, 100%. You know, it was definitely changing time because the recruits also, guys that came out became naturalized. They were fixtures. I think I had I counted about 16, 17 guys that Doc brought out that actually live here permanently, you know. Wow. They just called it home. And then there's a whole bunch of others that came and went but spent quite a bit of time here. But as you know, that once you finish playing in this league, it's not like you get the opportunities that the Australian players or the American players, the white American players get in working after basketball.
I know.
So that was the difficult part, you know, that I really, to this day, still trying to get my understanding out there that, you know, we all put our time in the game. We all got, you know, a unique talent that was good in the day. We all recognize, we got personalities, but how come there's no opportunities, you know, unless you create something yourself? And that became
I also think that has to be driven by the people who have authority, and it's time to have awareness and understand, like, this league is becoming browner and browner every year with the African influx into the country. And it's time, you know, I don't know how effective the policies are in the NBA or the NFL, but certainly, you know, so many qualified brown skin, whatever, I don't care, you know, Asians. There's no Asian players in the league. Are there at the moment?
I don't think so. No, we did have one year. We had Brisbane had an Asian player playing with them, but I don't think there's any more.
But there just needs to be a move.
And Melbourne Tigers as well.
There needs to be a move for more inclusivity. And I don't really see that being a part of the agenda here in the NBL, and it's kind of a shame. I mean, I know I would never get hired. I would never get offered anything in the coaching ranks by any NBL team.
I know, well, you and, you know, what's his name from Southeast Melbourne Magic? They play with Kansas.
Adonis.
Adonis. You know, there's, you know, D-Mac. You know, you got so many guys that are really talented, know the game. have to be head coaches yet. They just could have a role now. Of course, CJ has come through it, and he's now, you know, in the national program. You know, he had to do his apprenticeships like we all should do, coaching the Spartans, and you know, we do clinics all over the country. I'm proud to say I'm probably one of the very few guys that's went to every single state and territory running, you know, Bruton basketball clinics.
Bruton basketball. And
going to all the communities. I've been to most indigenous communities, and I've paid my own way. You know, no one's come with the sponsorships, or I haven't had no major grants or anything like that. I just do my relationships with different people. I can pick up the phone and say, you know, I'd like to host a bullet clinic. I have to charge the kids, of course, but I'm gonna give you more value. I'm gonna give you a T-shirt, a basketball, a bag, you know, the tuition, you know, for $100. And I had some people come at me and go, damn, man, you're entrepreneurial. Nah, that's not right. I'm like, hold up. I'm paying my way here. You know, it's costing me, but my love for the game.
And you built it from nothing.
Yeah, exactly. That was pretty much after, you know, had a chance to purchase the team here in Canberra. And once that fell over, I didn't know what to do. So I sold cars for 12 years. And luxury cars. And that kind of got a little money in my pocket. I hustled like it was no tomorrow. But I was able to put some things away, and then I decided that once my young boys, I had 2 young boys, they wanted to play. I couldn't even go watch them because they, you know, on Saturdays I'm working selling cars. So I used to take a jump in the car and say, "Yo, the test drive. Why don't you drop me by the stadium? You take the car on your own. Come back and pick me up, and let's see if we can do this deal."
Well, it's that type of drive, Cal, that's got you where you are today. And man, damn, that's 55 minutes just like that. I got D-Mac on the line. I want to get you back on because we didn't even get through all the stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about all types of stuff. But
now we can do that, Rob.
It goes quick. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to say one quick thing. I'm proud of you, man. I just saw what you done been through, like outside looking in, and to see what you've done over your recent times and your girl coaching, your individual clinics, and what you did. It's all about the comeback, you know? Yeah. I believe from the heart that you're doing that quite well. So keep it up. Keep it going.
Thanks, Cal. And I'll be in touch. We'll get you back on here soon.
All right, bro.
All right. Be good, man. Later.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.